All right. Good to be back in Eugene. Certainly excited about the opportunity to be in front of our fans again this week. I know they'll have a great turnout. It's good to have a little bit later game as well. I think that'll give us an opportunity to get some more players here to be able to see us also. But ultimately, an exciting opportunity for our players to continue to level up and raise our standard. You know, there's a lot of things that Wisconsin actually does really well. Their special teams play and defensive play has been really good. And you look at offense, they've been affected by injuries. But you watch the film and you're like, well, man, the ball bounced the wrong way on this play. They've just been kind of unfortunate, bad luck on some plays. But you see a team that's capable of having a lot of success. They're really well coached. Got a lot of respect for Coach Fickle and the job that they do. They stress you in a couple different ways. That'll be a good challenge for our team. So excited about this matchup and a chance for our guys to go compete.
On the left here, Eric.
Gets a little lost in the shuffle because of how the game played out. But I wanted to ask you about the response after the fumble and kind of those 7 plays, the stop on defense, and then the big Noah run. Just kind of what that said about this group's ability to bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, we talked all week about starting fast, and we kind of started fast in the wrong direction. But I do think they had good response, and I really like the energy that our team had throughout, and that was kind of a good punch in the mouth really early. But for the guys to come out there and the defense to put out the fire, hold them to a field goal there, and then the offense respond and be able to create a real positive drive, that next drive was a big positive.
Right, Zach.
We saw Brock get the QB2 role again. It seems that Austin and Luke are both healthy, but what's given him that role over them?
Yeah, just over time, he's done a really good job in practice. He's operated well. Those guys have also done a really good job as well. But there's not anything that Brock hasn't done to earn those reps. He's earned them in practice. We talk about Rent's doing football every single week, and he's been a guy that's been paying rent, been doing what he's supposed to do.
Back right, Aaron.
This Wisconsin defense was one of the defenses last year that kind of really did a nice job of containing your offense. Just what makes their defense so effective under Coach Fickle?
Yeah, it's probably one of the best defenses when it comes to disguise, and what it looks like pre-snap is going to look different than what it looks like post-snap. They do a great job of stopping the run, right? They game plan your runs really well. And I think that's a big piece of it. They make sure they get the extra hat where necessary, and then they do a good job of avoiding explosive plays. So it's really sound. It's difficult. They pitch different looks to you. There's different guys that can pressure, unconventional pressures at times, which makes it a real challenge.
James.
Just to follow up on the backup quarterback situation, Dan, because a lot of fans were questioning just why Austin and Luke didn't play. Are they available, and who is?
Yeah, but just like I just said, rinse do every single day. These guys earn it in practice. We don't care your status, the stars, like that part doesn't matter. You earn reps throughout what you do in practice, and we've had a lot of guys that done that. Brock's done a really good job. Luke and Austin have done a really good job. We feel like those guys can go win games for us as well. And who knows, that role might change in the future, right? But right now, Brock has earned those opportunities in practice.
All right.
We got to hear from Poncho a little bit last week, and then to see the job they did in the Rutgers game. Just what did you see from that room throughout the week, and then what did you like from him in the game there?
Yeah, I thought the communication was at a different level. I thought they did a really good job of recognizing, what we anticipated the looks being and being able to handle those looks. And even when the looks changed, being able to go through that. And I thought the coaches did a really good job preparing those guys as well. And more than anything, I think they showed their physicality up front.
On the left, John.
First time for Noah going over 10 touches on the ground since the season opener. He was obviously able to get the momentum started early, but for a guy who dealt with injuries at a certain point this year, how are you feeling about where he's at right now and coming back from that?
Yeah, I've got such a high level of trust in Noah. He's an unbelievable teammate. He works extremely hard. The thing it's not going to show up in the stat sheet, but the thing I was really proud of is the way he carried the ball. His ball security was super impressive throughout the game. Even that long run, you see the ball tucked up really tight to his chest. I think that's a huge point, something we've tried to coach really, really hard, and Noah's been a guy that's accepted that. And it was multiple plays, and every play you saw him make in the game, it's like, okay, I've seen that happen on the practice field. There was a lot of that from him, but when he's healthy, he's really dynamic and a great teammate and great player for us.
Back right, Jack.
Building on Wisconsin's defense, against Rutgers, you guys had a lot of explosive plays in the run game. Wisconsin sort of prided themselves on being physical at stopping the run. You mentioned it. What can you guys do offensively? How can you work your way to generate those explosive plays on the ground against such a physical defense?
Well, that's it. You got to game plan it, right? And that's what the process we're going through right now as a staff, trying to figure out where can we create those. And they don't all, sometimes a 4-yard runs can be just as impactful. You're not always going to have explosive runs against a team like this. So we got to try to find out if we can find some of those, manipulate some of those opportunities, but take what the defense gives you as well, right? So if they're heavy to the run, that may give you more opportunities to be able to throw the ball as well.
On the left, Eric.
Go from a day where Dante was sacked 6 times to a day where I'm not sure he was pressured once. What impressed you most just about that entire operation and how they got things fixed?
Yeah, it just means everybody's working in sync, and I don't think we were in the game before. In this game, we were. Like I said, I thought we had a really clear plan. It was a good plan. I thought our players executed that plan to a really high level. And then Dante, I thought, made good decisions. There were times he threw it away in the game, and I think those were good decisions to be able to throw it away and get to the next play. We didn't really do that the week before.
On the right, Zach.
A couple drives there where you guys moved Wilson to right tackle, Harkey inside to right guard. What did you see from that group in practice that made you want to try that in a game, and what did you see from them in the game that you liked?
Yeah, we just continue to look at strength in numbers, right? I think we had 67 guys playing this last game. I want to say we traveled just over 70 to the game, right? So as many guys as we can, we want to be able to see them in different spots and different locations because injuries can happen in the season, much like Wisconsin's faced this season. And we want to make sure guys are ready for opportunities when injuries happen to look at guys at different positions.
James.
Will Jaleel be redshirting this season?
I think he's already played in 4, has he not? No? Okay. Maybe.
Aaron, we're back right.
Wisconsin has played just multiple quarterbacks this season. What's the challenge when you're trying to scout a team that has had multiple quarterbacks that have started? You're not really sure who you're going to see on Saturday.
Yeah, you got to prepare for all of them, and then they're all a little bit different, right? There's a little bit more run game with 18. It's a little bit different offense with each, but they do have an identity in what they try to do, regardless who's in there. So we just have to be aware of which guy's on the field and what it looks like.
On the left, Eric.
A gauged attempted field goal. Is that a change from Atticus? Is that just rotating?
Yeah, we just felt like it was a good opportunity to get a young guy a chance at one, and one that we anticipate him being able to make. And obviously, it didn't go in, but that's good experience for guys. Similar to punt returner, we had DeCorian back there. Gary had consistently been our punt returner, but again, strength in numbers. How many guys can we develop in moments like that?
Back right, Jack.
Against Rutgers, you guys really got Kenyon Sadiq involved a lot more in the offensive game plan, especially compared to the week prior with, a physical defense coming up. Where do you see him being most effective against Wisconsin? Do you expect it to be run blocking, or are you expecting him to get just as involved in the offensive air attack?
Yeah, probably had more. His involvement had a little bit more with his availability in practice the week before. There wasn't as much availability for him, but he was available last week in practice, and it allowed us to be able to attack him. And again, it's also predicated on what the defense is doing, right? There were opportunities there.
On the left, John.
You mentioned being able to get the young guys opportunities, and for a guy like Naeem Alford to be able to lead the cornerback room in snaps, how big is that opportunity where it comes later in the season and in conference games instead of just at the beginning where you're playing the non-con and stuff like that?
Yeah, Naeem's a great example of a guy that's been developing over time and getting better and better, and where he might have not have been completely ready at the moment as the season started, he's gotten better and better, and he had a great week of practice. And it goes back to everything I've said this entire time of when you perform in practice, you get opportunities in the game, and he performed well in practice this past week.
Zach.
Jaden Lamar did not travel to this game. Curious if you can offer an update on him.
Yeah, he's out. He's going to be out for a little bit, but I don't anticipate it being a really long time.
Back right, Aaron.
This week's kind of just unique in that there's a lot of attention kind of around the jerseys and your guys' collaboration with the Grateful Dead. Just when you were presented with that idea, when you found out that it was going to happen, just what do you first just remember about that? And how familiar were you with the Grateful Dead? How more familiar are you now with it in this area? Just what has your experience kind of been like leading up to this?
Yeah, I'll tell you that the jerseys don't look like they initially looked. We changed that, so you could just imagine a one at a different level, and it's been toned back a little bit. But exciting to have that opportunity when you start to dig into the history of the Grateful Dead playing over 20 shows here, their involvement with the university, how it created revenue, obviously an innovative, right, think outside the box group, and what they were able to do here in the Eugene community is pretty cool. So I'm gonna have to spend some time to listen to them. I haven't done a good job of that yet, so maybe I can turn that on my late drive home tonight.
James.
When an opposing offense is struggling a bit, mainly due, as you said, Dan, to injury, they're opening the door even to playing a true freshman potentially for the first time at some point. How do you go about defining what success looks like and even preparing for that a bit? You touched on it a little bit earlier with the quarterback bit, but like last year with Purdue, for example, like they were also dealing with injuries, also potentially multiple quarterbacks, different play caller. How do you try to define success and what it looks like when there's just a lot of moving parts there.
Yeah, success for us is defined by our standards, right? It's not as much about the opponent; it's about our expectation for our level of play, regardless of who goes out there. And again, like in a game like this, you might have to have multiple answers and multiple rules when you play a game. You don't know exactly what you'll see.
Right, Zach?
More on Aaron's question. Have you been able to acquire some articles of tie-dye in your time in Eugene?
I think I got one tie-dye shirt. Not often.
Oh, we have, Coach. Thanks.
Appreciate it.